Hi, my name's Sean. That's my friend Chris Ford. And there's the background. How's it going? This is Avatar The Last Podcasters, and it is time for episode 4, or book 1, air chapter 4, rather, of The Legend of Korra. So far, so good. Chris, before we get into the episode, how you doing? How's your week been?
Always been fine. I've been working a lot around my house, cleaning up a lot, just pre-prep in case I want to sell my house. And now that that's done, I can rest easy. I feel like I'm going to start getting more motivated to actually do more videos, which I have not done a lot of. But I plan to do more. I really want to do that Cork video that I talked about 2 months ago.
It was long enough
Gosh.
ago that I don't really remember what it was, but I'm sure that it was an awesome idea.
No, I think this Cork video will be one of my best videos. The thing about my videos is sometimes the videos that get the least amount of views, I love the most. And like it does like my biggest video, which is kind of anchored to my channel, is Who Did Zuko Marry? Like I had a random thought, I was like, oh, you know what? I should do a who's who of who maybe Zuko married. And and the thought from like thought inception to the end was like a week. And usually that's not the case with my videos. Usually I just have a long list of video ideas to do, and they come from like I have video ideas from like a year ago that I haven't gotten to yet. And then I like sit and I write the script, and that takes like 2 days, and then I record and edit and everything.
That
So
is like the
usually video takes me like 2 weeks to do. Um, but because I usually put a lot of I put a lot of thought into that video, but when I want to say a lot of thought, I mean like a lot of thought and care and heart. Like my video, I did a video about um, Infinity Train. Things, the best things I learned from it, the most important things, less life lessons I learned from it. That video maybe has like 300 views, I think, right now, which is great. I love anyone who watched it, but that video means a lot. Recently, I did one video a long time ago. It wasn't maybe that long time ago, but it was comparing the Yu Yu Hakusho theme song "Smile Bomb" to Cannon Busters, like which one was the best opening theme song for an anime. And it got a few plays. It didn't do that great. I mean, it did fine, but I always loved that video because I thought my editing skills was really good at it. Like I streamed both songs in and out right where I wanted to. And then recently, my daughter's been watching, or she's been watching Yu Yu Hakusho because I won't say she's been watching it, but I've been telling her the stories of it like for bedtime, and I'll let her watch like an episode every now and then. But she's only watched like 4 episodes maybe, and it's not really for kids. The language is not great, but
I'm
she
not
loves the
familiar with
intro.
it, so I'm just
Oh, I think it's the best anime of all time, Sean. You should watch it. Like,
really.
yes, it's the goat anime. It has a great character of
You
Yusei
mean
Urameshi. All right, let me give the
you mean I'm
rundown of it.
like 2 seasons into MHA because you told me to watch that, and now you tell me to watch something else? Chris, I only have time
Well,
for one show at a time.
okay, let me first wrap up this thing about videos that I love that don't get that much views. So my daughter's been loving Yu Yu Hakusho, but I'm letting her watch the theme song as much as she wants because it's just a theme song. But I love the song Small Bomb. I think it's the greatest anime opening of all time. So she loves the song. Like she sings it all the time. She literally has watched it on YouTube like 40 times maybe, which is great. And then I told her like, hey, Google, look up on YouTube, um, Smile Bomb versus Canon. And she looked it up, and then she was looking at video. She was like, "Is this your video?" I'm like, "Yeah." So then she watched it, and then so I broke down the songs
Hits me
by like all these
feels.
different rounds and stuff, and then like she was really into like, "Oh yeah, Dad, it's a good one." And then like I finally rendered a verdict on it, and then when I came out, it was like, "And Smile Bomb wins." She's like, "Yes!" I'm like, "Yes, thank you."
Gets my heart
Just making
going
that
right
just
here.
making that video for you was enough. But
That's that's adorable.
uh yeah. But let me give you a rundown of Yu Yu Hakusho.
I know you've
So
talked about it before. I just
If anyone out there
You tell me
has
about
not
a lot of
watched,
TV shows, and some of it catches in my filter, and then some of it just falls out my ears, and I'm really sorry.
yeah, imagine So Yusuke Urameshi is the main character. He is an a-hole for better or worse. He's like a jerk. Well, I wouldn't say he's a jerk. He's a jerk with a kind heart, but he's a bad boy, right? He's great at fighting. So many people are scared of him. He skips school all the time. He's like 14 years old. So so out of nowhere, he uh he sees this kid about to die, or he sees this kid about to get ran over by a car. He jumps in front of it and he saves the kid, but he dies. He gets hit by the car. So then he's a ghost. He's not a ghost for most of the show. He's only a ghost for like 4 episodes. But they're like the Grim Reaper, who's this really. Wait a minute, I have the pops, so I'm gonna show you with the pops.
Sorry, audio only people. We're gonna look at some pops. I'll describe them in great detail. Whatever. The audio only people. You have great imaginations. I believe in you.
Okay, I have all the popcorn. This is Yusuke Urameshi. All right. Okay.
He looks like a
So
bad guy in an '80s karate movie.
yes, this show came out in pretty much the 80s.
Oh, that makes some sense. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a jerk. Anyway, he dies. The Grim Reaper, then her name is Botan.
Oh
So she doesn't
my.
really look like
Yeah, that's not what I expected.
exactly, right?
Different take on Grim Reaper.
She's pretty much like, hey, we have everyone's plans in their lives, and you're a jerk. We did not expect you to save that kid from getting ran over by a car. And so they're like, we don't really have a place for you right now because we didn't expect you to do that. So then he works his way to going back to life, but then to repay them, he works as a spirit detective, and he has to like take on demons, like Hiei, who is a demon,
Definitely a
and
bad guy.
yeah, and Kurama, who's a demon. They're bad guys. I don't want to ruin too much of it. I mean, it's not a big spoiler. If you've seen them, you know they eventually turn into good guys. But and then here's Kuwabara. Anyway, Yusuke Urameshi probably goes through one of the best character developments I've seen in an anime ever, and so does many other of the other characters. Like I think his story and Korra's story is a testament to telling a story about a protagonist who doesn't. It's a great character arc for a protagonist to a protagonist. You know, most great character arcs we talk about is from an antagonist to a protagonist. In this case, they're both protagonists. Like they're both. Well, they're not. I wouldn't say they're both jerks and stuff, but they both come to a realization.
Misunderstood or
They have good growth.
in a tricky phase of life.
Yeah. But great show, Sean. I think you would really like it. It's funny. It's has a little heart here every now and then. Some great action, great animation, great music.
When I finally, I'm almost through season 2 of MHA. When I finally finish MHA all the way, I will ask you to remind me this name that I won't be able to remember. Or just for laughs, I'll ask your daughter and she'll tell me, and that'll be cute.
It's on Hulu if you want to give it a watch.
Excellent. Am liking MHA a lot, for the record. It is going well. Football season has already kind of interrupted it. If you're just now tuning in to this podcast for the first time, football is my favorite sport, but it doesn't help that the NBA finals are on right now as well.
There's so much sports on right now.
There is literally like every major sport is on right now. Celtics just lost earlier today, and I think that the Heat versus the Lakers would be a wildly engaging, weird finals. I'm always cheering for whatever team finds like unconventional ways to do stuff, to win. I tend to be not necessarily just pro underdog, but pro kind of creativity and different weird stuff. But on that note, I'm not going to count out the Nuggets either, because
I'll say, as a Lakers fan, I'm not underestimating the Nuggets, and which is why I am slow to make fun of the Clippers, even though I really want to make fun of the Clippers.
I think you can still make fun of the Clippers in the sense that trash talk is just trash talk. But I would like in my mind, like you can't make fun of the Nuggets right now because it's not yet happened. But I think you can make fun of the Clippers because it's just talk. It's fine. You can trash them.
Yeah, your boy Marcus Morris is pretty much solely responsible for
Yeah, he is.
So he was talking trash to Paul Millsap. He pretty much told him like, yeah, you're gonna be packing up. This is when Utah Jazz was down like 16 points in the third quarter of Game 5, an elimination game for Utah, and that just sparked that game. And then, oh gosh,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, so I'm a KU basketball fan, KU football fan, but I'm always a fan of just the sport first. And so I have no qualms about saying that neither the Morris twins and also Joel Embiid I did not like in college. I do not like them as I respect Joel as a basketball player. Obviously, it's hard not to. And the Morris twins have had a nice career, but I do not like them at all. And yep.
Is it weird that I don't even remember the first name of the one who plays for the Lakers?
Marquise
I just give them
Marcus. And I get it mixed. Marcus is a Clipper, Keith is a Laker, right?
Yes. Markieff is the Laker, but
probably a slightly better career.
I think we got the good one, the literal good one, the morally good one.
I doubt it. I think they're both kind of whatever. They're good ball players. They're good.
Well, maybe it's a thing about how the Lakers team doesn't promote that type of behavior. I feel like the Clippers, like you got Patrick Beverley, you got their center, whoever, like they're meant to be
Lou Williams,
the rowdy boys, the dogs who like to get into fights and stuff.
Yeah. That is
like to talk trash, and the Lakers aren't like that.
I will say that picking between the two Morris twins as people is dangerous, but you're absolutely right. There's a culture thing going on there. Yeah, both make great 6 men, right? Because they can guard 3, potentially 4 positions with a little switching off and on, decent outside shots, big guys. So, but yeah, I don't want them on my team. Whatever, it's fine. Hey, it's gonna be fun though. Should be a good finals. Either way, it should be very intriguing.
I'm just trying to get to the finals. I got to respect the Nuggets.
Absolutely. I didn't respect him 2 different times already, and here we are. So long story short, I will watch. I've been consistently watching MHA in between football, and it is really good. And Deku is really growing on me. I forget the name of All Might's teacher, the little bitty old guy. He's cracking me up. I just got through those episodes.
Gran Torino.
Yeah, Gran Torino. What a great hero name, too, by the way. So, yeah, we'll keep that rolling. It'll be a good time. And so, Chris will look forward to a video sometime. It's funny to think about. Like,
I'm holding myself to Nets Friday. By Nets, yeah, you know what? Yes.
A lot of basketball.
By Nets Friday.
A lot of basketball.
That's true.
It's funny you talk about, like, clean your house up ready in case you were to move, and that in my mind signals that there is no time. Like, what if we buy a house and then we move and then there's no more videos for like 8 weeks? I know how moving goes. I've done it many times. I have 2 small bits that I wanted to toss out there. Is one, I am hosting a fundraiser. I try to do like one big thing every year, and 2020 has been a weird year, so I'm going to do 2 big things. I did a March Madness thing earlier this year. Now for my birthday on November 14th to 15th, I'm going to do a raffle and a fundraiser. So essentially I'm getting prizes, mostly geeky in nature, and selling raffle tickets. And there's more information on my website and on Facebook, or just reach out to us directly. But I'm very excited about it. I've already sold about $200 worth of tickets, and the thing is, 2 months away, so that's pretty exciting. And I have a couple of cool prizes, not near the quantity that I would like, but I'm not a great salesperson in terms of just going out and like cold calling people for prizes. That's awkward to me, but I'm trying my best. The grand prize is my wife is going to make a quilt for somebody, like a lap quilt of their character design and flavor. So hopefully a decent.
Maybe a prize. Maybe a prize could be a guest host on this podcast if anyone's.
If you could honestly just come ask us and we would do that for you, but maybe we should stop just giving those away. Maybe there's some prize value to that. No. Ooh, Price, you get to be a guest. You get to pick the theme. You get to pick the episode. It is a you episode within the realms of the Avatar universe.
Well, all right, just everything's in the description below, I suppose. I don't know how you tell us, like, hey, I want that prize. You'll be like the only person.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck telling us you want that prize. Give me ideas, though, if you have ideas, and it's on my website. And then thing number 2 is that I've tried to update my website a little bit, which is SeanShaler.com, first name, last name.com. And Avatar Last Podcasters got a little spot up top there. Nice big blurb for us. And then I've started sharing our videos there regularly as well. So just one more place to get us out there. Not sure if it gets any traction, but it's not hurting. Little blurb for Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, at the bottom of that page too. So got some playlists there, manicured and curated by Chris himself. So go check out my website. That's all I got.
Oh yeah, I meant to mention. So recently, Nickelodeon sent out this oh hey, if you're interested, not to me, to everyone. It was on Twitter.
You made it sound like it was directly to you, like Nicholas. Nickelodeon's like, hey, Chris Ford.
But wait, it was pretty much like there's some Avatar fan duel competition thing that's gonna happen soon, and it's pretty much like, hey, enter to win. Email Avatar, whatever this. So I emailed, was like, hey, I'm a huge Avatar fan. Like, I don't know, maybe some trivia competition or something, some live thing happening in October. So lady emailed me back, was like, yeah, just send in your tape, this information. So I did get an email from Nickelodeon.
That's pretty exciting.
So I did my little audition tape. Felt like one of those, those kids, like, this is my big shot, mom.
You're like auditioning for the real world.
Yeah. But and I looked up the lady, like, she is a legit, like, talent cast person. I'm like, why do they use this person to find people for just this one little event? So, hey, if you see me in Hollywood soon, no, it's a live thing from your that you call it, that you zoom into or whatever.
Are you trying to say that if people see you from your basement chair anytime soon, the chair that you're in right now?
Although it did say, like, hey guys, make sure you show your personality and stuff, and I can't fake like a very outgoing personality. Like, this is, I'll try. I try to be a little bit more animated, but I'm not gonna be like, hey guys, I don't want to do whatever. Like, no, I'm pretty chill.
I can see that. You know what? You do you, and if that's what they want, then that's how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like when I try to act or overact or whatever, it just makes me sound like it comes out sarcastic and makes me sound like an asshole. And I'm like, no, I was really trying. Whatever, it's fine. Well, good luck. Hopefully that goes well. I mean, just tell them to listen to the podcast. It's like, what more information do they need than 2 years of pure dedication? Yeah, I feel like.
I didn't mention it. I mentioned my podcast, our podcast, and my YouTube
it's on
channel.
Your channel. It's your podcast. I'm fine with that. When I describe it, I tell people that I produce it because I click the buttons.
Ooh, I mean, that sounds good though. That you produce it. I produce it. Yeah.
You are the host because your channel hosts it. I'm the producer because I click the buttons, and it makes me feel good. It gives like a roll, feels right. But well, hopefully that goes well. I feel like you had a really good segue into the episode earlier, and then we kept talking, and I lost. Oh, well, okay, it's kind of fake or kind of cheating, but you mentioned something about Korra, like some good times, some bad times with Korra or whatever. It's like we kind of get those in this episode. We kind of get at least in my opinion, we get like Korra extremes in this episode. Yeah. I think that's my segue. That's all I got.
All right, well, let's get into the episode. So, starts off, we actually meet Tarlok for the first time in a city council meeting in Republic City that Tenzin is a part of. So it's kind of interesting to see how the government works in Republic City.
It's just like Parks and Rec, but not funny.
And Tarlok, he's not like part of the council, but he's like, kind of hard to say. Also, I think I might have a little echo in there. I can't tell.
You sound okay on my end. Do you Do you hear
Oh,
yourself?
okay. Nah, I can just kind of see your thingy fluttering when I'm talking,
Oh, I
but
see
and
what
I
you're
kind of
talking
do hear
about.
myself. Not important.
Let me do
Sorry,
this.
you don't
No,
have to edit this out.
I can fix that.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Um, so Tarlok wants to. I feel like he kind of wants to gain a little bit more power. He he assembles this task force to take on Amon, and they all agree to it. Tenzin doesn't want to do it for whatever reason. So then he visits Air Temple Island because he knows Korra is staying there, and I kind of love that we get a little hint of Air Nomad culture because Tarlok is saying like, "Hey, you're cooking, right? I'm famished, and an air nomad would never turn down a hungry person." Like it's and it's and and he lets him in because that is like the culture, that is the right thing to do for an air nomad. And like his wife Pema looks at Tenzin and is like, "How could you let him in?" And Tenzin's like, "Wait, what are you gonna do? It's culture.
It's in the
It's what
rule
we got to
book.
do. Yeah, it's in the rules. You got us."
So like
Um,
they do a nice job of like he's not a bad guy, and I think that becomes pretty clear over time. But he's pretty hashtag extra.
Yeah, he's definitely not a bad guy. I mean, he doesn't present himself as that. Um, he says he wants to go after Amon. So far, we should
Sorry, I
believe
said
him.
bad guy like an antagonist. I meant more like he's not a bad guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Right. No, I said it with a what's the wrong intonation.
Also, I want to note that right when this episode starts, she had a nightmare of Amon taking her bending away from her, and Korra's really shook about this whole thing. Like seeing Amon take away those people's bending, that really carried over from the previous episode. She just has all this fear pent up in her. Um,
Got me
and
pretty shook too. I agree.
Yeah. And anyway, so Tarlok visits them, and he asks Korra to be on his task force, and she says no, that she wants to focus on her airbending. And even Tenzin is surprised, and Tarlok's surprised because she's usually that gun ho avatar who's ready to jump in and challenge people who need to be challenged. And also, I laughed at this part. This episode was really funny to me, even though there's a lot more heavy stuff that happens in it. Icky, the way Icky is talking to Tarlac, she's like, "Why do you have three ponytails? Why do you smell like a?" I mean, does she say, "Why do you smell funny?" Or "Why do you smell like a woman?" I
Something
forget.
something mildly potentially insulting.
Yeah. And if you keep watching her as he keeps talking, she's just like staring him down and making these kind of faces. This I was just cracking up
It's a
by it.
beautiful
Icky's,
portrayal of how children actually behave. Like it's a detail that they
yeah.
could easily just let go and not bother with, but it's done beautifully.
Children have no. They can be so disrespectful sometimes, but not
Honesty,
knowing it.
honesty.
Um, so Cora declines, and she continues to kind of have these fears about it. It's kind of weighing her down. Even Tenzin, while they're like talks to her like, "Hey, you gotta talk about your fears. That's very important to talk about them." And so, Alicia Keys, right? Alicia Keys. Okay, so Alicia Keys was
Plays
watching
her
Legend of Korra.
plays her own piano while she sings. I always admire that.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Alicia Keys. Love her. Always, yeah, that's one of my celebrity crushes, I guess.
Solid.
Um, yeah, it's funny. One time, my wife was visiting, and we were talking about something, maybe cheating on each other, even though we've never cheated. It's just like with a celebrity or something like that. And I don't know what celebrity guy my wife mentioned. And I was like, "Oh, well, while you're with him, let me preface this by saying I had a friend named Alicia, who is another resident assistant, who's also anyway, she was a pretty close friend. I'm not that close, anyway, close friend. Anyway, she was like, "Yeah, I'll be with this guy." I was like, "Well, while you're with him, I'll be with Alicia." And then, and then my wife was like, "Wait, what? Wait, what? He'll be with Alicia?" Like Alicia Keys.
Probably go ahead and say the full name next time,
Yeah.
just to be safe.
Alicia. Yeah. Alicia Keys. Anyway,
I don't know
speaking of
about
Alicia
celebrity
Keys.
crushes, but she's one of those people, and I have a few like this. Like, you just hope really, really hard that they're really good people in person.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, I mean, why everybody be a good person, but there's certain ones. Alicia Keys, Kristen Bell is really high on my list of people that I
Hmm.
hope that she's a good person in real life.
Yeah.
I have those weird.
Yeah. For me, it's Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. Brian and Mike. Like, these are
I
people that
feel
I
like
will
they
be.
demonstrate like we have enough intimacy with their content to speak on their
Yeah.
behalf. I couldn't speak for Kevin Conroy, but he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Kevin Conroy has been just the best person ever.
I'd believe it.
Um, I don't say. Oh, so Alicia Keys. She was like she went to Instagram and she was talking about Legend of Korra. Pretty much, I'll read what she wrote or what she was saying. She was like, "All right, so I've been watching this show with Egypt, which is her son, and it's called The Legend of Korra, and it's this animated show that's like a series from Avatar: Last Airbender, and also I'm kind of addicted to the show. I'm loving it. And there's this moment when Korra is feeling a lot of fear and anxiety. She feels nervous about really stepping into her warrior power. She feels like she might not be able to do it, or there's still so much to learn. And how can she like really accept the calling? And is she ready for it? So she feels nervous about it. She feels anxiety. She feels fear. And so her teacher, what she says father, but she just got confused because Tenzin is really like a father to her. Anyway, she says her father says that you have to talk about your fear because if you just keep it in, you're not gonna really be able to figure out how to use it and how to create what you want from it. And she's like, and I'm watching this doggone show with Egypt, and I'm like, yo, especially because I think for me, speaking personally, a lot of times I'll be speaking the optimism that I want to feel. You know what I mean? So even if I'm feeling like kind of negative, I'm feeling insecure, I'm feeling vulnerable, I will continue to speak the optimism, thinking that if I speak it, it's going to come, which I believe in, and I do believe in the power of words, and it's true what you speak, it does come towards you and it comes for you. But then I realized, wow, there's also power in speaking your fears. And a lot of times I avoid talking about my fears because I feel like I don't want to call them to me. I don't want to, give it too much attention. I want to, again, stay in the glass half full vibe, whatever the case is. But when he said that on the show, it really spoke to me and it showed me that also honoring your fears and speaking on them and getting them out is such a powerful tool for healing and for becoming stronger and for manifesting what it is that you want. Because then you can use that and you can say, all right, here's what I'm afraid of, or here's what I'm worried about. And you can use that to get to know yourself better, to transform it and change it and become the warrior. Tap into that warrior, the calling that's in you already, like Korra. Like, man, Alicia Keys watches Legend of Korra like that? Like, man, she needs
Right,
to
she's
write
not
video
just
essays.
backgrounding it like I do some days. Like, she's into it. I dig that. Way to go,
Yeah.
Alicia.
But then, like, I started thinking about this. Like, I never really had fears, but then I started thinking about like all the insecurities I had when I was like a teenager, and how like those insecurities just hold you back from like doing so much. Like, and it could be the stupidest insecurities. Like, I had I had this like I guess I had a fear or insecurity when I was probably like in 10th grade that my close friends were becoming better at me at basketball. Like, because for the longest time, I was like the best one amongst my friends at basketball. And then I don't know, I guess they just kept growing and they kept getting better at me. And then they'll be like, hey, let's go to the park. And I remember like sometimes Saturdays, I'd be like, nah, I can't go, man. I gotta wash the dishes or something. Because I didn't want to, they're like, hey, we're going to try and dunk today. I'm like, you know me, I can't.
You're like, I'll bring the ladder, I guess.
Like, I just remember like a few months before that, or leading up to that, we would always go and try and like touch the net and see how close we can get to the rim. And then I remember we were the same of like getting probably halfway up the net, something like that. And then when they start telling me like, oh, so and so can like grab the rim, like I can grab Like they're like, oh yeah, he can grab the rim, he can grab the rim, and me, I'm still touching the net. And like, I don't know, for some reason I didn't want to deal with that, and so it kept me from. If I just would have owned it, it would, kept me from playing basketball with one of my best friends. Like stupid fears like that are just and insecurities are just weird. Like you should really talk through that.
I'm like a textbook case if I try to brush mine off with comedy, but there's like it's just real deep rooted. The easiest one for me has always been getting old, but I think to some extent most people have that. But I'm like a pure. There's probably a psychology book written that somebody would just hand me and be like, "This is you." Like it's not exciting or interesting, but yeah, I try to cover them up with comedy and humor. But if I would just chill and own them, maybe I wouldn't have to worry about them so much, and then it would be fine.
Yeah,
We can all
that's fine.
learn
I look
together.
forward to getting old. Like I thought I had some gray hairs coming in, but they're not. I just have these weird hairs that aren't. Like if I pick them, they're not. They don't have the same like consistency as hair. They're just like random. I don't even know what they are. They're not even like really hairs. They don't have the same structure as my hair does. And sometimes I grow them like right on my forehead, and
Gotta plug them in.
I can just.
I got a few gray hairs in my eyebrows, but the gray ones are coarser, so they stick straight out, and so they'll just be like a gray hair like shooting straight out of my eyebrow. It's weird, but no, I don't like feeling. I'm not a health nut or anything, but I'm active. Like everything I do, other than this, for the most part, involves some amount of movement. And so, like the other day,
Yeah.
I woke up. The other day, I swear, I woke up with a twisted ankle. I woke up and it hurt, and I was like, oh well, I just slept on it funny. It'll wake up. It's like no, it's like 3 days that I couldn't go on my
Oh
normal
God.
jogs and stuff because I woke up with a twisted ankle. I was like, this is old age. This is bad. This is terrible. I'm not old enough for that to happen yet. How do you twist your ankle when you sleep? That's not a good sign. But there again, if I wouldn't, joking is not a great. It's a fine coping mechanism. It's not a good solution. Maybe that's the right way to put it. It's not a solve.
Yeah.
It's good to know that Alicia Keys has such a good human side to her that she's willing to share. Like that's kind of vulnerable. I mean, it's still a kids' TV show that she's talking about watching on Twitter and connecting really hardcore with it. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Also so getting back to the episode, um, we get introduced to Asami. Also, she runs into Mako with
Literally.
her moped. Yes, and that's completely Mako's fault. You need to look both ways before crossing the street.
Yeah, dude, come on.
But he doesn't mind because she's drop dead gorgeous and she's portrayed to be that way. Like that's the whole slow mo
She has
hair
like the
thing.
glowing sparkles and everything in her hair.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and then they do the whole meet cute thing, and yeah, so you come to find out that her father is Asami Sato, who is like the creator of the Sato Mobile, and he's pretty much Henry Ford, as we talked about before. I forgot when we talked about that, but we did.
It feels like a while
Um,
ago, but I think it was just last time.
I think it was just last time, which is weird because this is the first introduction to them. I don't know, crazy.
No idea.
Um, he's so much like Henry Ford that when Mako visits his factory, every single car is black, and Henry Ford was known to just he was one of Henry Ford's greatest contributions to business was the assembly line kind of and maybe I'm sure the assembly line was around before him,
But like
but it
a
was
high
like
efficiency assembly line, essentially.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like um, yeah, like when everything is made the same, it's much easier to create the same thing over and over again.
I'm
Like
sure
it
the
had a famous
Egyptians are
saving.
up there just like scoffing, like, you think he invented what now? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Uh,
no,
you think those pyramids are just people like not being highly efficient? Whatever, it's fine.
yeah,
No, I
exactly.
think you're right. Though it's like
That's
sort of
kind
a
of like
mass
people think America
production.
invented democracy or
That's
something. No, this thing has been around for like thousands of years, guys.
come on, killing
Didn't
me.
start 1776. Um, but anyway,
When
so
Earth began in 1776.
um, the he had a famous saying of like every customer can have whatever color car they want as long as that color is black. And so like in the factory, every car was black, and so I thought they was even making that point.
I would
I do
never have picked up
believe
on that. That's beautiful.
President Roosevelt was also an inspiration for Hiroshi Sato.
I think that's fair. Some appearance there.
Yeah. Anyway, so Tarlok keeps doing all these things to get Korra to join his task force. He gives him a car. He gives her a car, which was a really nice car. And I like how the airbending kids are just playing in it, like vroom, vroom.
No respect.
And Korra can't drive. Korra has no need for a car anyway. Yeah, and then he throws a party for Korra honoring her, which is so one thing I like
Kind of
about the
sneaky
Tarlok.
party for her, not quote unquote a party for her, but
Yeah, one thing I kind of do like about Tarlok, especially since reading like the Kyoshi novels, is how much emphasis is put on having the Avatar's favor. Because you can tell he's trying to use Korra to increase his own political power because she is the Avatar. Like Aang, no one ever tried. Maybe they. No one ever really tried to do that with Aang, um, which is funny
the
because
only person that had an opportunity,
yeah,
really. I mean, Water Tribe and Earth King, and I don't know. I guess that's about it politically.
yeah. But we see in like Kyoshi novels that being having the Avatar on your side can mean so much for you political wise and everything. That's why Jianju wanted Korra so bad. Also, just to help help his own downcomes and shortcomings. And even we see the Fire Lord try to get Korra to like help him out. Really not even try to physically help him out, but just to have a show of support for him, things like that. Not Korra, Kyoshi, in the Kyoshi novels.
Oh, you
So now
did
it's
say Core,
interesting
didn't
to
you? Yeah.
see.
Okay. I was with you the whole way. I just glad you caught
So now
it.
it's interesting to see Tarlok try to do the same thing to Korra to a certain extent. And he does a good job of goading her, right? Invites her to a party, everything seems going fine, and then boom, here comes the press, which press is not a thing that past avatars have to deal with. And you can tell the press is working for him because they goad Korra into all these questions. And he even signals one of them to be like, "Oh yeah, attack
Are you
her at this
embarrassed
point."
by how scared you are to take on a Mon in this task force?
Yeah,
What else makes you a disgrace? They're not quite that bad, but they're pretty pointed. Gave me a
yeah.
good chuckle.
Um, so and then Korra's like, I'll take him on, fine. So then she joins the task force, and they do these raids, and these are pretty cool raids. Like, it's some great little action. It's just great to see how a full raid would happen with bending, and then like they bring out the water tank that helps out. Like it's a pretty quick raid, which is really just cool to see.
It reminded me of yeah, it was very intense. They did a good job of getting a lot
Hmm.
across in a very short amount of time, which is the idea for Korra too, right? I think they're trying to hit her with this. I don't want to call it a good time, but obviously she got something out of it.
Yeah. So they do a few raids. They do a pretty good job. They're actually a pretty good team together. And then like another press conference comes and someone asks Cora like, Amon still evades you. Like, why is it? And then she's pretty much like, because he's a chump. Because he won't fight me. Like she went all Russell, all WWE style. Like,
I
you
was
can
pretty
challenge me at
pro.
12 o'clock.
Oh yeah. I was
An
pretty
Avatar
pro
Aang
Korra.
statue.
Proud of her this episode until this part, and I'm just like, Cora, this is why when we back you up, people get upset at us because of this kind of behavior right here.
Oh, this is book one Cora. Book one Gore could be goaded into a
But
fight.
earlier episode 4, Cora declined the task force initially and then considered it thoughtfully, and then she's just
That's
like, well, I can't have people talking smack. I better do something about it. It's like, all right, that's bad, Cora. You were
Although you,
so
you gotta think about why she declined. I don't think it was a thoughtful decline. It was a decline that came from that fear and insecurity. It's like even Tenzin's like, I'm glad you came to this answer, but I just wanted to make sure you came to it from the right way.
but she didn't jump
So
into it, and I respected that. And then she did it's like she gathered a bit, and then she made a decision. Like I guess I was with it the whole way. I had no issues with how a teenager would attack it the whole way. I guess, or was proud of it even, until she started like talking trash on the big bad.
But I think all of it comes from insecurities, right? She first doesn't want to go against. She doesn't want to be part of the task force because she's afraid and insecure that Mom's gonna take away her Bendy from her, which is the thing that makes her the Avatar. And then um, the press comes at her and say, "Well, why aren't you doing your job as the Avatar?" So that's another insecurity, like, "Oh, I'm not being the Avatar." And then the press comes for her again. Like all of this, the reasonings I think are all pretty consistent, while even the answers aren't consistent, which is in some way very consistent and I think good
As a young,
storytelling.
yeah, as a young adult. There was a turning point in there where I went from pretty like proud to just like, damn it, Cora.
Yeah,
Oh well. She should have known. You know what? Not oh well. She should have known that it wasn't gonna go down how she
true.
proposed it to go down. Why would Why would anyone let you? Whatever. It's fine. I'm over it.
So then she goes to Aang Memorial Statue. Which, if you listen to commentary on this, for one thing, they say that Toph built Aang Memorial Statue, or at least say the thought is that Toph built that statue because she's really great at art and everything. She's shown that in the past that she was able to create that little miniature Bossing Say of Sand, and also she's a great metal bender. But they also said it's a lot like the Statue of Liberty, and then like there's an actual museum in there that kind of shows, and it's a display of like the 100 Year War. It's dedicated to the 100 Year War and Team Avatar fighting it and defeating the Fire Nation in it.
Is that
So
it's Aang Memorial Statue, but on what's is it just called Airbender Island? Air
I
Temple
don't know
Island
because they're
or
well, because Air Temple Island and there's Aang. I think it's only the statue on that, but they're on two
just the
different
statue
islands.
separately? Okay,
Yeah,
got it. I don't know why I was thinking it was on the island they were staying on, but I don't know what made me think of
yeah,
that. I probably just wasn't paying attention.
yeah. So then Korra goes to challenge Amon, and he doesn't show up on time, and she gets tired. She's about to go, and then they kind of ambush her, which is a really creepy, like almost horror movie scene, right?
It's a
Like,
jump scare. It's a straight up jump
yeah,
scare. Yeah. And you even
yeah,
kind
bro.
of know it's gonna happen. Like you're looking at the time stamp on the episode, and you're like, the episode's not gonna just end with her leaving. Like that's not how cartoons work. And it still got me a little bit. I've seen it before, and it got me a little bit. It's been a few
Yeah,
years.
yeah. And then it's really good. She gets dragged in by her feet, and then she like fire bends up in the dark, and so the fire comes out and then illuminates and it goes away and then she fire bends again and they kind of come closer and closer at her. Eventually they wrap her up and chi block her and Amon just he just has her so shook. Like it's she is afraid like of nothing before and he comes in close to her pretty much just threatening her like I'm not going to take your bending away. I thought it would be so easy right now. And just him saying that gets at core that it will just be so easy for him to take her bending away. And he was like, no, you will become a martyr and the other nations would rise up around you. But trust me, our battle is inevitable. And when it comes, I will demolish. He says something very threatening. And I
Destroy
love
you
this
all.
attack he does, which is like a, oh yeah, this is how he does. He like holds his fingers like like this, and he just
It's
like,
like he's shooting an arrow almost, and then he comes up.
yeah, right. And he just like knocks her out cold, and then
I
she wakes up. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just two comments. First is I'm gonna remain upset at both her and her colleagues for agreeing to this terrible plan, which there's no way he's gonna answer the challenge the way that you would expect him to. That's a horrible idea, and everybody should be ashamed of themselves. Number two, you know how uh sometimes when you ask like what kind of bender you'd be, and I can't usually decide. I usually settle on earthbending. This episode validated for that for me because when she shot the fire, my first thought was like, if I was in danger, I think I'd go earthbending. I'd try to like some kind of cover up first, and then those chi blockers. What are they gonna do if you're earthbend up? Get yourself like a body armor statue, even if it's just rock, like Toph does or something. So my instinct is to go to earthbending. So I finally answered the question inside my heart, I'm an earthbender. Even though I don't probably act like a stereotypical earthbender, but that's fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely a airbender.
You
Yeah.
can't say definitely and then pause. Oh yeah, 100%.
I was about to say fire.
I thought you were too,
But
and I
I
was
don't,
like, that seems
I
out of
don't,
character for you. I don't.
yeah. I
Outside
mean,
of
yeah.
generally
But
liking warm weather, I would not be a firebender. Um, no,
honestly, I'll probably be air, then earth, then fire, then water. Definitely not waterbender.
did you ever have to do track? I had to do track a couple of years, and to like decide what foot is like your starting block foot, you just like stand in line. They just give you like a shove. They just push them. They just push them. To see what foot is your strong foot that comes out first to balance you or whatever, and that's how they
I think it's
determine
your
your
left
start.
foot,
I think
right?
mine's my left foot, but not everybody's. Um,
Okay.
and
I mean,
that's
what
what
foot is
made
it?
that's
Is it
what
like the
this.
same foot you jump off of?
I think so. I think that's the idea.
Okay.
So they push them, and then whatever one comes out is your strong foot, and that's what this made me think. It was like reliving all these horrible track memories because that was my first instinct. It's like no instinct, cover up. Yours, you would do some kind of vortex something or other to get them off your case.
Probably a air. You know how Aang creates those air bubbles around himself, so like
Yeah, it seems like it would
he
be
can
hard
sort
for
of
a
like
chi blocker to get through
yeah.
something like that. But shooting fire straight up, that's not helpful at all, Cora. You could have, I don't know, think of something better. Come on,
Yeah.
Cora. But now I'm just projecting my residual anger onto her unfairly. I'm overdoing it now.
Um. So anyway, Tenzin goes and gives her. And when she sees him, well, first of all, she sees flashbacks, which is cool. Um, she sees Aang, she sees Sokka, she sees Toph, and man, I remember first watching this, like, holy crap, it's Aang, it's Sokka, it's Toph.
It hit my feels
Like,
pretty good watching this one. Made me happy.
yeah. And then she sees a shadowy figure in air nomad clothes running towards her. She says, Aang, which is really cool because in the last episode, she sees a person coming at her with airbending clothes. She's like, not now, Tenzin, and that's Aang. So it's just a really cool uh, change there.
Just a feel good full circle
Yeah.
thing.
I'm sure some secret person will now go make a meme or a post about that. Who secretly listens to this podcast just to get meme ideas. I'm on to you, person.
That would be
It's okay,
ideal
keep watching.
if you
Take the
would
meme
just keep doing that because they make me happy.
idea.
Chris is on to you. I'm proud of you. Whatever, it's fine.
Oh, and this moment is so freaking good. Like Korra finally like admits to, well, one thing, Tenzin's like, did he hurt you? Did he take away your bending? And she's like, no. Like the way he says that is he says it in such a caring manner, and I'm sure they didn't intend for this to be a metaphor for what I'm about to say, but it reminded me of it like as if taking away your bending, and this is somewhat of a trigger warning for anyone about sexual abuse, but like it just for some reason it just reminded me of like, did he touch you, right?
Like a
Like Tenzin,
like a sort of intimate violation kind of.
yes, yes,
It makes sense though. Like bending is such a part of who you are physically and spiritually that, I mean, not to compare the plight of those two things, a fiction to a reality, but I see what you're getting at there and agree that's the tone that came out.
yeah. And she just balls in his arms, like, and I love this mentor relationship, and it might be a better mentor-mentee relationship than Zuko and Iroh. I know that's blasphemous to say, but I think it's such a two-way channel.
It's tough to
Uh,
compare though, right? Like
it is tough. There it's tougher. It's more tough to compare than the two shows and Aang and Korra, like compared to like that, because it's
probably
two
so.
completely different relationships.
Well, I'm thinking about, it's like my little brother is my best friend, but also he is not like my best friend in the same way that my best friend is my best friend. He's not like my best friend like you're my best friend. It's a different, and so Zuko and Iroh, it's a different I don't know. It's kind of a different ballpark versus this here is more of a true like. It's very intentional that Tenzin is Korra's mentor, and it's professional and non-related, and
Hmm.
I don't know, the familial element changes things.
Yeah,
Don't tell my wife that she
but
didn't crack my top three of my best friend in my show. She's my number one best friend.
that's good. Yeah, my wife is definitely my number one
Yeah,
best
and
friend.
quoting, you heard it here
Even though
first.
we don't do any hobbies together, it's fun. Yeah.
I don't think my wife has ever. My wife was on an episode one time. I'll give her credit. She was on one time. It was about Disney, so that counts. Remember that top five Disney movies?
No, I remember it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good episode. Anyway,
I said I was going to do a Princess Tiana's video in that podcast. Never got around to
that
doing
needs
that
you
one.
will both love it, and it will be popular. It will be a culmination of both because what a tremendous movie.
I think I was going to do it for his 10-year anniversary.
Has it been out for 10 years?
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my, holy smokes!
And then I just didn't get around to
I'm
it.
so
It's
old that
okay.
I'm definitely only a little bit scared of being old.
So yeah, that's pretty much the episode. It ends on a really somber note.
It's definitely like a bittersweet kind of thing where you're really happy that her bending's still there. Like it's hard to imagine the show without. What if they had taken her bending so early? Oh, that'd be sick. But it is
That'd be
bittersweet,
interesting.
and there's this very touching moment at the end.
Maybe we should do a video on that. What if Amon took away her bending at
Ooh,
that point?
kind of like the video game, at least the 3DS one. She gets her bending zapped right away, so you're just stuck with like martial artistry at first. Not a great video game.
Hmm.
It's passable.
All right, so ratings. Audiovisual gave it a 9. There was a lot of small details in this episode that I think are easy to overlook. Like when Korra just hears Amon on the radio, one thing the audio cues change, the score changes by Jeremy Zuckerman, and also it zooms in on her eyes, like really close.
Ooh,
And I
I didn't
think it was
notice
just
that.
really great animation done there, really great directing to get you really into the character. And of course, the bending fights were good. Whether it was the raid or whether it was Korra getting ambushed, that animation was beautifully done. So great job. And then when Amon goes in to intimidate Korra, they do a good job of zooming in on Korra and Amon at the same time. Like you really get into like his eye. Like he does a lot of like right. He has a mask, and so he does a lot of I want to say acting with his eyeballs, and um, I think his name is
There's a lot
Steve
of
Bloom.
emotional expression in his eyeballs, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, which is an interesting thing that a few actors can do. Pretty much Tom Hardy has done it a lot because he's played a lot of roles where he's wearing a mask and he can only emote with his eyes.
What's the
Like
movie
in
where
has
he's like
Bane.
Tom Hardy is both twins and they're like gangsters who open up a club? What is that movie? I can't.
It's called Legend. I've not
Legend.
watched it yet, but I've been meaning to watch.
Surprisingly caught me as good. Like I would not
Ooh,
associate
okay.
myself as you're like, hey, Sean likes that movie. No, he doesn't. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
this doesn't
No,
like doesn't
actually,
like a movie.
it's a very good movie. Anyway, I
Doesn't seem like a
digress.
movie you would even watch.
It was kind of an accident that it happened.
Story. Gave it a 9 as well. I think this was just a great job laying the setting up the stakes, introducing him on as a really terrifying villain to Korra. Like he's a great um, foil for Korra because he represents everything that Korra fears. Like man, this season is so much about fear. Like if you didn't title it Air, you know, like the other seasons are titled more theoretical things like balance, change. Why can't I think of the balance, change, spirits? Like this one will probably be just fear or something.
Yeah, it's
I don't know,
interesting that
something.
it's called there, isn't it? In hindsight.
Because like I mean, if you think about it, right? If you think about the things you have to master, the Avatar has to master the four elements, which I guess you would still have air as a book, but
And it didn't get to be a book or
yeah,
anything. But it's still an interesting choice
but she
compared to the
still
other three.
yeah she still had to master her fear, and this is yeah this episode is a lot of that. So 9 out of 10, memorable. It gets an 8 out of 10. Part of me wants to give it an 8.5. I forgot something else happened that I just thought was just so good in this episode that really was really memorable for me. But anyway, it's an 8. So that brings it out to an 8.9 out of 10. I think this is probably the best episode so far we've gotten. It's a really good episode.
Agreed entirely. I went 9 on audiovisual. We get some cool fight scenes, some very appealing detail in the non-fight scenes. Story, I docked it just a little bit because it really did piss me off that nobody stopped her. Like somebody's got to stop jump it. Like this is your most prized asset, and you're just gonna let her like it's outrageous. Whatever but it's fine. It was still a great. Obviously, I was invested in it. Like as I'm emotionally attached to it for it to piss me off that way. So 8.5, great story. I always remember. Maybe not the rest of the episode or even some of the comedic bits with the kids or whatever. But I always do remember Amon not taking her bending. It's like, oh, that's such a baller villain move. And so
yeah, and the thing about that is like usually you get mad at the villain for like not doing the thing that they could have done. But I
just to
understand
get
that
it
in the
over
Amon's
with, like you're
because
monologuing and you should just kill the
yeah,
person or whatever. It's like,
yeah, because Amon's goal isn't to kill Korra. Amon's goal is equality. Like he, even though he's a bender, he wants equality, and he does feel like if I kill the Avatar now, that's not going to help my cause, and he is going to be detrimental to my cause. So yeah, I'm not going to kill her right now.
first he has to like build the rationale. He's got to sort of garner support for his cause, and we're going to talk
Yeah,
about it more in depth, like probably a deeper, I don't call it emotional discussion, but maybe a harder or more uncomfortable discussion someday about like, I mean, why Amon's process is appealing and semi-legitimate or legitimate in its on the surface. Let's call it legitimate on the surface. That's what makes him such an appealing villain. Appealing as a villain, not as a person. But yeah, I don't know. He ropes you in. 8.7. That's obviously a very high scoring episode for something so early on. 8.8. That's
yeah.
good stuff.
No,
Um,
when I was
there's a ton
yeah
going on in this
when I
episode.
was thinking about like, man, give it a 9 and 9. This isn't even the at the finale. Like yeah, it's
It's
really
not
great.
even an even or like a special. It's not like a 10 or a 5. Right? It's just episode 4. That's crazy. In my
Yeah.
mind, those 5s and 10s and 20s, those should be the good episodes. No, this is a great episode though. Absolutely sets the tone for the series for this entire season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You could
Oh, and some great voice act working done by Jenna Varney, who voices Korra. Um, dang it, why can't I think of his name?
I
J.K. Simmons, who voices Tenzin, and Steve Bloom. Is it Steve Bloom? I want to say Steve Bloom, who voices Amon.
I would never recommend that you did, but you could skip the first 3 episodes and jump into this one and still be fine.
I think you need episode one.
As like exposition and all that, I give you that
I
too,
mean, just
sure.
get a good introduction to Korra because I think you need that. I think you need to just suppose that Korra who's gun ho and who's ready to take on any challenge to this Korra who's like afraid,
For it to be really
crapless.
meaningful to you, I can get on board with that. And again, yeah, not to besmirch those other episodes, which, as you've seen our ratings, have been good episodes. But like I said, this is definitely a big turning point in a good way. So that being said, we've been talking about an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Chris, final thoughts on The Voice in the Night, Book One,
Nope.
Air, Chapter 4.
Great episode.
Great
Loved it.
episode, absolutely. I mean, watch the other 3 before it because just binge them all because it's just a season. But this is a great episode, easily the best so far. In the meantime, my name is Sean Shaler, producer Sean Shaler. That's host. That is the host, the channel owner, the guy, YouTube and Twitter famous Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next week.